They know you have. Huh? They know you have a meeting.
Yeah, but can you remind your mom just in case? My mom knows. I text her. Uh, where? Oops. Oops. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Uh,
Hello.
I'm gonna give it like 5 more minutes. Did I? Yep. How's everybody doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. One of my stories became a best short read for this month on Honeyfeed.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Sadly, there's no money involved, but this is like the second time that happened. So, yay! If I can just make my longer stories get that good, then yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was some really good news for the meeting. All right. Let me take care of some background stuff because I think I know Caitlin's coming at 9. She has some family stuff going on. Tashana's here. Who's missing? Brandon is here. I feel like we're missing something. I heard Mickey. No, we're good. I don't know why. Oh, Michelle. Michelle's not here. All right. Michelle's probably gonna be mad at me.
Why?
I'm getting ready to go into it. All right. So this past week for me, we had a summer break from Full Sail, and Atara also goes to Full Sail, so she knows what I'm talking about. So we've been on summer break, and I decided to also use this break to kind of really reevaluate, because you guys know I'm going for my entertainment business master. So I'm using a lot of the resources that I learned from the last class So I just took this week to kind of like really focus on that. I haven't really been writing, drawing, or anything else. Just really trying to work on the business side of things. And which led me to some stuff. So first of all, I appreciate everybody doing chapter one. I think everybody pretty much did it. Chapter one will officially be due next Saturday, so August 10th. So if you haven't finished or you felt like you wanted to add more to it, you have this week to do so. But like Atara turned in 2 chapters, so I'm excited about that. So that's the first thing. So chapter one will be due the rough draft for the writers and the inks for the artists August 10th. I posted that up in the general classroom. After we're done with this training, your chapter 9 brainstorms and rough sketches for chapter 9 will also be due August 10th around midnight. I've also decided to kind of like streamline communication between, because editors, if you volunteer to be an editor, you we're gonna have some training this week because I figured out how how we're going to schedule the post to WordPress. It's going to be on the editors. And with that also being said, with the editors, we're going to, like I said, we're going to train during the week on how to do that. Resources that you guys can use to help you with your editing. And what else I have written down? Oh, and I think, like I said, so since the editors are also writers on different projects, I think it's before I finalize it, I do want to get a general consensus. I think it might be easier to just have everybody do their work in the general classroom, and I'll just kind of like what I do with the beat sheet trainings. I'll just create a section for the project that you're working on. So I think that will be faster. So that way, like, for instance, Samantha's editing Pack Matters, but she's also writing. No, I mean, she's writing Pack Matters and she's editing Copycats. Instead of her having to jump around to 2 different projects, she can just message everybody on her team in the general classroom. Because I believe you guys only get emails when I post something or when anybody else who's considered a teacher posted something. I think that's when you guys all get emailed. I don't think you guys get emailed like if you guys chat with each other and stuff like that. So I think that's the major change that I'm going to do is I'm going to do away with the project classrooms. And we're just going to do everything in the general classroom. Any questions about that? Is everybody cool with that, or do you guys prefer just to stay in the project classrooms? Let me know.
It's fine with me.
It's good. I don't really care either way. I didn't think it was like a big deal or anything, but
Okay, Bernie, I see you. All right. So yeah, so we'll probably just keep everything. We will keep everything in the general classroom. Second order of business is I can't even read my handwriting. I told you guys about chat one, told you guys about the classroom. Oh, we have a new artist joining. She will be on Sword Dancers. And I'm going to pull up her name is Erica Gaines. And she's actually has been bugging me about joining the team. And I'm gonna pull up I'm gonna see if I can pull up her art real quick for you guys. So at first, we agreed for her to be on Pack Matters. Thank you. We agreed for her. I was gonna put her on Pack Matters, but she really wanted to do Sword Dancers when I was going through all the story concepts. And so she did this drawing today. This isn't for Sword Dancers. I believe she was trying to do something for Pack Matters. And I was like, yeah, you're definitely on the team. So so she might be on. I forgot to send her the link earlier today. So I sent it to her like 15 minutes before the meeting. So she might be on. If not, she'll be added to the classroom by the end of both meetings tonight. So just to give you guys a heads up, we got a new artist. She's on the royalty plan as well. And she actually has made t-shirts for the company as well. Well, she made a t-shirt. So she's fully behind what we're doing. All right, so let's get into the training. All right, so our objective tonight is to understand and apply the key elements of transitioning from Act 1 to Act 2 in storytelling, with a focus on ensuring a clear and impactful shift in the protagonist's journey using the Save the Cat methodology. So, oh, this light keeps sliding. All right, so let's review. So we're now officially, even though I think the break into Act 2, I feel like that's the end point of Act 1. But Save the Cat is saying that it's the beginning of Act 2. You know, I guess it really doesn't matter. It does the same thing. So we are now officially done with Act 1. So everybody give yourself a round of applause for your brainstorms. You made it through Act 1. We're now starting Act 2. And we're going to recap what has been happening in Sword Art Online for Act 1, and then we'll talk about chapter 8. So in chapter 1, we meet Kirito and we see that he defeats a lizard man, and that is basically our opening image. In chapter 2, Klein seeks Kirito's help, and Kirito basically trains him. This is what I would consider the open theme chapter, because Klein will then invite Kirito to meet his party of friends, and we see that Kirito hesitates, mainly because he doesn't really want to. He's like a loner kind of player. So we see the theme of loneliness, whether whether he really wants to be lonely or it's just something out of his control right now emotionally. Loneliness is our theme. Chapters 3 and chapters 4 is our setup, where the players are teleported to the Central Plaza, and they learn that Kayaba has prevented them from logging out, and that if they die in game, they die in real life. Chapter 4 is all about what's been going on since that. Chapter 5, Kirito kills a rare monster. He gets this rare item, and he asks Asuna to cook it for him. She agrees. That is our catalyst. This is going to jumpstart the romance part of the book. It also starts Kirito's growth in accepting help and being part of not just parties but guilds and stuff like that, as you'll learn as we get through the book more. Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 was our debate beat, where we see Kirito really kind of struggling with if he really wants to help Asuna or not. And as we see, he eventually does for reasons that he's not really entirely sure of. So that's just a quick review. So the break into Act 2 and its importance in narrative structure. There's 7 things that Save the Cat says we should be looking for as we brainstorm and as we write what will be for us Chapter 9. So is your hero leaving an old world behind? And that's metaphorically. It could just be like a state of mind and entering a new one. If your hero isn't physically going somewhere, are they trying something new? Is your Act 2 world the opposite of your Act 1 world? Is the break between Act 1 and Act 2 clear and distinct? Does your hero make a proactive move or decision to enter Act 2? Is your hero making a decision based on what they want? And can you identify why this is the wrong way to change? So as we apply those to Chapter 8, so if you haven't read Chapter 8, basically in a nutshell, Kirito and Asuna are hanging out, and then Kirito, he has this skill that allows him to kind of like know when people are coming. So he sees that a group is coming. So him and Asuna, they decide to hide. Before that, they have some playful banter about the clothes that he wears because he's always in all black. And then it turns out that his clothes helps him hide, and she sticks up like a sore thumb. So he has to hide her in his coat as this army battalion of 12 marches by. After they march by, they're apparently going to the labyrinth, and that's when Asuna basically tells them some of the rumors that have been going on about this particular battalion, and they both agree that the battalion is about to commit suicide by confronting whatever boss is in this labyrinth that hasn't been mapped out, and it hasn't been mapped out. So and they end the chapter with them approaching the labyrinth. So why is this Chapter 8? Why is this considered our break into 2? So is our hero leaving the old world behind and entering a new one? Kirito is not physically leaving the game world, but he is transitioning from his previous solitary approach to engaging a new partnership with Asuna. So Kirito and Asuna's preparation to enter the Flora Labyrinth together marks a departure from Kirito's isolated approach. This signifies a shift in his strategy from working alone to collaborating with Asuna, representing a new phase in his journey. Now, if our hero isn't physically going anywhere, are they trying something new? Kirito is trying something new. He is working with Asuna, and they're going to confront this new challenge together. Is your Act 2 world the opposite of your Act 1 world? So Act 2 introduces a more cooperative and interactive environment compared to Act 1's solitary focus. In Act 1, Kirito was isolated and relied on his individual skills. In Act 2, the focus shifts to teamwork and shared goals. Kirito's decision to work with Asuna and tackle threats collaboratively represents a fundamental change from his previous isolated approach. And you're gonna really see that in play in chapter 9, because chapter 9 actually starts off with them fighting enemy together. Is the break between Act 1 and Act 2 clear and distinct? The break is definitely clear. He's used to being a solo player, and for the last couple chapters, he's been partnered with Asuna. So we are definitely in the upside down world of Kirito's um, isolated efforts. Does your hero make the proactive move or decision to enter Act 2? Kirito made that decision back in the debate. So, yes, he made a decision to work with Asuna. And is your hero making a decision based on what they want? So, right now, his goal, and that's something that you guys have to remember as writers and just storytellers in general. Sometimes the goal that they want in the beginning is not what they need, which is the character's journey. But sometimes their want also still changes to a different want. Right now, his want is still the same. He wants to beat the game. It's the matter of, is he going about beating the game the right way? Is beating the game as a solo player the right move, or does he really need to be part of a guild to beat the game? So that's kind of like this drama that we are going to be drawn into. And then, can you identify why this is the wrong way to change? So, Kirito, we really can't identify if this is the wrong way for him to change. Right now, we do know that it seems like it's a good change for him, but we're going to be intrigued to see if something happens that makes him go, "This is why I need to be solo." So even though we don't really have a direct answer to that question as of now, we can also tell that there's going to be some issues that are going to come up and challenge um his belief, which is working by himself, and also challenge Asuna's belief that you need to be part of a group. So we have conflict there, and we'll see if that change is the wrong way to change. So, um, so this week, like I said earlier, your brainstorms and rough sketches for chapter 9 of your narratives will be due on August 10th. And writers should turn in chapter 1 rough drafts, and artists should submit their inks by August 10th, 11:59 p.m. Editors will complete a resource checklist by August 10th as well. So I'm going to open it up to discussion. Does everybody understand the importance of Act 2? I mean, the break into Act 2. Any questions? All right.
I'm good.
Well, yeah, I know you're like you're high off your award. Of course, you're good. Hold on a
That
second.
doesn't mean you're not paying attention.
All right. Oh, now that I turn on the lights, I can read my handwriting. All right. So, if there's no questions about the break into the 2, so one of the things that no, I don't know. I thought I could read it. So, oh yes, that's what it is. So the new procedure, well, it's not new. I'm adding on to it to make sure that we are efficient, and that we are like, so that when we're scheduling our posts, we're putting up the best possible chapter we can. I've separated the workflow into 3 parts. Right now, we were working in 2 parts. So right now we are still doing the pre-production. That's our brainstorming, our rough sketches, and all that kind of stuff, right? And we're going to be doing that up until week 15, and that's when we finish the beat sheet as a whole. Now with this week we're officially starting our production, which is writing the rough draft, that is drawing the final pieces and inking them. I'm adding post production, and what post production will be is kind of like what I've been doing with when you guys turn in your brainstorms and I grade them during the week. Um, Post production, which is mainly for the editors and myself, that gives us a week to kind of go over what the writers and artists turn in the previous week. So when the artists and writers are actively writing, let's say chapter 3, we will be editing and revising chapter 2. So we're the editors and myself, we will always be a week behind what the writers are doing. So like I said, it's not really changing anything. It's just I'm trying to make sure we have a good system in place so that way when we put up chapter 1, when we put up chapter 2, when we put up chapter 3, those are final drafts. So that way when we finally hit chapter 25, I can compile them all and create the book, and so we can start making money, right? Because right now what's been happening with sword dancers is I'm trying to essentially um not rewrite. I'm trying to do all the revisions that were suggested by Sarah, our editor. But as you guys all know, I'm also doing tons of other things on top of going to school and stuff. So I feel like this way we have, instead of rushing the writers to have the story, to have, like, for instance, to have chapter 1 done by Thursday so that the editors and I can have 2 days to do it. I was like, let's just give the writers the whole week and then let us have a whole week to edit and revise, especially if the art isn't what we think it should be. And that will also give the artists more time to either fix it, or we'll just, we'll wait for the other pieces. Because what should be happening with the artists is that they should be improving. I don't want to put pressure and say they should be improving every week, but there should be a shift in quality and storytelling monthly. There should be, not saying we should be going from stick figures to drawing like this, but there we should I should see improvements in the artist, and that goes for me too, because I think I'm going to tackle one of the books as well. I'm still debating. So yeah, so we're just adding that on. We're adding post-production as an official step in our workflow. I mean, again, it's already a step. You have to edit before you publish in a way, but we're gonna make sure that it's more focused and allow enough time for us to really polish that one chapter up. That goes back to what I was saying earlier. Editors are, by the end of their post-production week, you guys are going to be the ones to take the art from the artist, the writer from the writer of the project you're working on, and you are going to create the blog post in WordPress, and you are going to be the one that scheduled that blog post to publish the week that I tell you when I give you guys the post-production schedule. So the chapter 1, so editors, just so you already know, because we'll be working on chapter 1 next week. Chapter 1 is what we'll be scheduling for your project specific day, that first week of September or that second week of September. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to. I'll talk to you guys about that later. But anyway, so that's the other change to our process. We're just adding on a actual post production week. So your writers are going to write, and then the editors, we edit that chapter the following week. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I've got one. So if I'm understanding this right, writers do their thing, then it sounds like the editors have like final say in how the chapter turns out besides your input. Am I understanding this right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I was just a little confused because I edited D'Amber's chapter and it's very good.
The what
It's
chapter?
just the first copycats chapter.
Oh, okay.
It's very good. I just saw like a sentence that I have no idea like how to end it, so I sent her like a suggestion to see what she thought about it. But haven't heard
No,
anything back.
that's perfect. That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't even see that. I'll have to go back and check on that.
Oh, it might have gone buried in the it should be in the same post though of the one where you had your original doc because I made a Google Doc version because that's the one that Grammarly works with, and then I like put the link like in the actual message itself.
Oh, okay. I just need to go back and check.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. But yeah, so as editors, you guys do have I have final say. But yeah, you guys are pretty much my vision as I continue to grow is that eventually I'm not going to be part of, hey, this is what we're going to do for this book. That's going to really be on the editors. Um, once I get to the point where I feel like you guys are where I need you to be. Um, so it will be you guys coming out with not the Bibles, because the Bibles are what I create and we just add on as we write the volumes. But you guys will be expected to kind of like say, hey, this is the idea that we're going in. Because I really need to, especially if when we start making money, I need to really focus on the business side of things. So the goal is to get you guys trained up so that when we're done with volume 2, or well, in this case, volume 1 and volume 2 and volume 3, hopefully by volume 3, you guys will feel comfortable as the project managers, and you guys will be like, all right, we just finished our brainstorming for volume 3. We need to jump into the brainstorming for volume 4. That's my vision, is that the editors will kind of, you guys will work together with your teams, and you guys will be able to create your own stories with the characters, because by then you guys will know the characters. The characters will be like your best friends. The setting will be everything you guys created, you know what I mean? And you guys will be able to rock and roll. And I should be able to promote and market us. So that's the vision. So I do want you guys to, if you're in one of the editor positions, I do want you guys to get used to basically being the final say. So like I said, so we're gonna train on that during this week. I'm doing good on that. Yeah, so that is it. We are, for those of you that don't know, we are going to be meeting at 9 p.m. We are meeting with, cool. we are meeting with Comfort and Adam, and I believe Theo. They're a triple. I think that's the correct term. I'm not exactly sure what Theo does for them now. I think she might be like it might be her that I'm actually talking to, I think. But Comfort and Adam, for those of you who are not familiar with them. I can't type. So they have been creating comic books, I want to say, for the past 2 decades, if I remember their original About Me. I've been following them for about 5 years now, is when I learned about them. So they have a book called, and I do suggest this. They have a book called The Self-Publishing Guide to Comics. I don't know where mine is. It's right here. So I remember buying this in 2016. Oh, so no, I've been following him for a while. It's been like 9 years, 8 years. It's a really good breakdown of the comic book process, but you can also adapt it to novels if you take out the art bits. And I liked it so much, that's what made me start following them. So they had two comic books that they were working on. They had the Uniques and Rainbow in the Dark. Both of them are really good. This is like a superhero teen drama kind of story. And this thing I like about Rainbow in the Dark is that it's music based, like all the characters represent a different musical genre. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then like the first um I'll let you guys read it, but the coloring and their approach to telling the story of Rainbow in the Dark is really, really unique. So again, they've been doing this for 2 decades. They know what they're doing. I can't sit here and say that they, like they're living off this full time, but I will venture to say that they do. I think they do enough. I think they get paid by speaking at conventions and the sales of their comics, and I'm pretty sure they're monetizing on Instagram and YouTube and like that because they have a lot of followers. So and they have a lot of Patreon support like us. So again, they've been doing it for a while. If there's anybody that's probably way more qualified to be training our artists, it's them, and that's why I reached out to them and was able to secure us a spot. So this will be a monthly thing. So every first Sunday, they will sorry, Brandon. I just fixed the glitch issue. I was able to download the manuscript and I have it in final draft. So revisions will start tomorrow, but I think I'm going to try to do it one chapter a week. But going back to Comfort and Adam, they're really cool. They were helping me when I was in the second year of making Favor of Athena, and I was transitioning into the printed and ebook version into webtoons. And so they were helping me with that transition for the 2 months that I could afford it at that time. So they're really cool. They already said that this first session with them is going to be more of an information session. So that's why I wanted you guys, especially the artists, that's why I wanted you guys to kind of make sure you have questions prepared to ask them because it's going to be about you guys more than it's going to be about me until I, decide if I'm really going to draw one in the series. And like I say, at this point in Jeffrey, I think I really don't have a choice but to have to draw. So yeah, so it should be fun. Um Again, I do suggest buying it buying this book, whether you're an artist or not. I think their storytelling advice is really really good. A lot of it is what I'm using for the business. So, like I always knew what the comic book process was, but like making sure everybody's hitting their roles and stuff like that. The royalty idea actually kind of came from this book too. It came from this YouTube secrets, like I told you guys in our information session, and um The Power of Broke by Damon John. That's what kind of gave me the idea to do the royalty based collaboration. Because the goal is to make it more of a collaboration than just, hey, I'm paying you to do this job, right? So yeah. So I'm excited that they should be coming on at 9. So, so at this point, if you want to leave, you can. Again, artists, it's mandatory for you to be here. Atara, it's optional for you. You're not officially an artist, but you are our animator once I figured out what that's going to look like. This is I guess since you're on, I was thinking we could do something like, I don't know if I'm following them on YouTube or
I was gonna say anyway, it sounded interesting.
okay. Drawing, I think it's called Drawing with Eli. I don't think that's on. No. Let me go to YouTube. Because what he does is, I think, very simple, but he's using a lot of pop culture art. So I think that's also why it's working for him. Um, Draw. Eli.
Before you start singing. I used to think that I wasn't fine enough. Come on, bro. I used to think that I wasn't wild enough. This boy keeps cooking. You're not Bieber, bro. You sure about that? But I won't waste my time trying to figure out why you playing games. What's this all about? Katara, that line was for you. Boy, stop playing with me. And I can't believe you heard.
So it's not really animation in terms of what you're probably going to school for, but it is motion graphics. And I think if we were to do something like that, that might also be beneficial, especially for the YouTube channel and the TikToks. I think this is actually too long for TikTok, but that's kind of what I was thinking. And then there's also kind of like, if we are talking about animations, there's like stick figure animations. Maybe we can come up with like shorts and have our characters be stick figure like because those seem to be really popular on YouTube. Those are not ones I was looking at.
When I make dinner, nobody sees them. When I do the laundry, nobody sees them. When I do the dishes, nobody sees them. When I clean the house, nobody sees them. But when I sit down to be on my phone, you're always heard, Bob. When I make dinner.
So I was thinking something like this as well. You know, obviously you pick which one you think you can do within your schedule. You know, we can come up with like how many a month we should try to do, even if it's just once a month. But like I said, I think that will help the YouTube and the TikTok more, even though those are already like our biggest platforms. I think that will kind of like help push us to get monetized on YouTube. And then obviously for you, you know, you're building your portfolio and
Yes.
whatnot. So, and then obviously it's royalty based. So if we get paid from it, you get paid. So,
That's awesome.
so
But I was like, yeah, I get it, to like help promote better.
right. So that's what I was kind of thinking. So we'll talk more about that in the upcoming weeks. You know, we can tackle that like officially going into going into quarter four. Quarter four is right around the corner. But yeah, so that's what I was thinking. And then obviously if anybody wants to help with the voice acting for that, like I already know some methods on it. I'm pretty sure D'Amber is also on board with the voice acting. So you guys want to help out with that, just let me know. And we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, I'm still interested.
Yeah, I said you.
I'm just confirming. I am proving that I'm here. Last time you said I wasn't talking enough.
I said what?
Last week you said I was being quiet.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah.
because the first couple of weeks that we had trainings, you were all you and Tashana, and then you guys just like
It's called mood swings.
I'm here, Terrio. I'm just because the dogs in the background will make a lot of noise.
oh no.
But I'm here. I'm listening along. I'm here.
I was like, I shouldn't have made fun of Tashana that one time. Ever since I said that joke about I don't even remember what it was now. She had a saying, and ever since I told her about it, that's when she hasn't been talking. So while we are waiting, who left? I saw somebody left.
Nobody sees them. When I do the laundry,
Who's seen Deadpool and Wolverine?
Not yet. I plan to though, but I also don't mind spoilers.
Okay.
Haven't seen it yet, and I do mind spoilers.
Okay. All right. So I'm a big Deadpool fan, but I would say that I'm not a particular fan. I was a fan of the first movie. When they were like, we're going to do a second movie, which money dictates you should. I was like, I don't know about a second one. The second one was okay. I'll put it this way: Deadpool and Wolverine. As you can probably tell from all the stuff that you're probably seeing on social media about it, I think overall, yes, it's a good movie. It just didn't, for me personally, I think storytelling wise. No, it's you know what, it's not even storytelling wise, because I think they did a really good job with the theme. I think for those of you that don't know the background to some of the issues that was going on with Deadpool and Wolverine. So Disney is, depending on who you ask, is definitely pandering and trying to be woke, right? Again, that depends on who you talk to. I I don't think they are. Not as much as what people are saying they are, but I think they're doing it a little bit. I will say that so what happened was with this particular movie, it sounded like they were trying to make some changes that I guess would have aligned with the woke movement and all that kind of stuff. And Ryan Reynolds was like, no, and if you force this change onto the movie, I'm walking away. I don't care if you sue me or whatever. Right. So obviously they know. So Disney has been losing a lot of money over the last couple of years. And a lot of it is due to the movies not doing as well as they were doing when, before Endgame. And same thing with the Star Wars franchise and stuff like that. And so I guess Disney was like, oh, we can't have Ryan walk away now that we have Deadpool. We need Deadpool to make as much money as possible. So they kind of left it alone and gave him more freedom than he had in the previous two films. And I just feel like he kind of took that and ran with it. So I'm not going to spoil anything. I think you guys are all going to love it. I just think they gave him a little too much power overall with it. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think when you guys do see it. The same thing goes for what was the other movie? Have you guys heard about what they were trying to do with Blade?
You mean the half vampire
Yep.
slayer person?
Yep.
No, what they trying to do with him? I
All
love
right,
those movies.
so with Blade, they are essentially I don't know where I really stand with it, but they're trying to introduce a team of females, and they're trying to make the movie. I guess they're supposed to take over for Blade. Is the general gist of the background battles that's going on. So essentially they're trying to make the movie about this team of women and not about Blade, the character himself. Right. So the actor is basically being like Ryan Reynolds. He's like, if you're going to make that change, then I don't want to be part of the project. I wanted to be part of the project because I wanted to be Blade. And essentially the movie should be about Blade, right?
He is the name.
Huh?
Well, he is the name of the character, so yes, Blade, it should be about Blade.
Right. So, but the issue he's having is that they're trying to make the movie about the other characters. So now this was like sometime last year, so I haven't really heard any updates about it. I'm just bringing it up because it kind of goes along with that whole woke Disney narrative kind of thing, where I'm like, if they're going to be like his team, I don't mind that. But if you are making it so that it's their movie and they're just using Blade's name, I feel like you can just go ahead and just make a movie for them. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It
I think
sounds
that
like
Go ahead.
well, to me it sounds like what they basically did with the Ghostbusters, where they basically reversed the roles and only had the original cast be like cameo appearances at first.
Yeah. Well, see, I actually like that because I'm like, all right, it's a reboot. You know what I mean? Like if it's a reboot, I'm like, okay. I feel like anything goes if you're rebooting something, right? But if you're telling me that this is a Blade movie to me, I feel like then I need to see more Blade than anybody else. If you're gonna make it Blade and the Midnight Daughters, because there was a comic book called Midnight Suns. If you're gonna say it's Blade and the Midnight Daughters or Blade Runners or something like that, I think I would be more like, okay, because at that point it's about everybody. But right now the movie's called Blade. I want to see Blade. I was, I don't know. Like I said, I try not to get into those kind of conversations too much because some people get really ramped up. But
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that it's like with the last couple of Marvels where they're more interested in introducing the new generation of Marvels. Like with Hawkeye, they were like, why did that fail? And it's like it's because it was more about Hawk Girl than Hawk Guy.
right,
Or it's like they're doing a whole bunch of stuff or the Marvels. It's like it was a nice movie, but you're more interested in introducing the younger Miss Marvel, and we just got a Miss Marvel.
right.
So it's like they're using all these movies to introduce the younger version or the new generation.
Hmm.
And it's like we want to see the old generation.
Right.
We're still
Yeah.
interested in them.
Yeah, so like I think another good example of what you're saying is the Captain America movie, right? Like
Right.
obviously, once you replace anybody with a different race, that's always going to be like an issue. But my thing is, if you read the comics, especially if you've been reading comics for the past decade or so, this is what happens in the comics. So Marvel technically isn't being woke. They're just like you said, they're just making movies based off the newer stuff. And I think a lot of people, and I get it too. I'm not gonna say it's all racial. Some of us, like I think we all can agree it's gonna be hard for us to watch anybody else playing Wolverine.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So like the next actor could be exactly like Hugh Jackman, right? But we're still probably not gonna rock with him because he's not Hugh Jackman.
Right.
So I get that there's people that are like, oh, it's not Chris Evans. Kind of like how Black Panther 2 almost didn't get made because people are like, nobody can't be Black Panther. You know what I mean? So I get that there's that point too. But the racial thing is still there too. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, they're just trying to be woke. And I'm like, no, this is what happens in the comics.
I know, but I'm saying that we're just not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
It's
No,
moving fast.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with you. I think a lot of people just want, because when you talk Marvel movies, you're talking all the Marvel fans, which means you're talking people who are in their 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, like me, who, these are the characters we grew up with, and that's who we want to see in the movies. So when they decide that they're going to do the younger generation characters, I think a lot of people are like, no, 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 no. Hello.
There we go. Volume just wasn't working.
How are you?
I am doing well. All right. So we are going to figure out what you guys need. I'm going to take this just because I tend to be the one who does a lot of the structure for how things get done, right?
Right.
So like when it comes to putting together comics, to what the step-by-step is, how to teach that will be me a lot of the time. So I am the one you're going to talk to tonight. Now, Adam, I'm sure will join in at times, and Adam is by me, and he is working on one of the many projects that we have. But yeah, if you want to get going on comics, I'm the person to talk to. So let's figure out, we've got a few people here, right?
Yeah, so with me tonight are my team of artists who are, they have to be here. It's mandatory for them. But a lot of our writers are also here. Caitlin just joined. She's one of our artists as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's my team of artists and writers.
Wonderful.
And we are actually making original English light novels.
Okay, so we're making light novels, meaning that we're going to be doing generally prose, right? And
Right.
then we're going to have illustration breaks.
Right.
Great. Okay.
So the reason why I reached out to you guys again, because you guys helped me when I was converting my comic book into webtoons, and you guys were helping me out.
Yes, we did.
So I was explaining that to my team. So I
Mhm.
was telling them that I think the best professionals that I can get in touch with, who I feel
We
like
try,
will
we try.
really help us out, will be Comfort and Adam. So
Yeah.
so I reached out to you guys so that you guys could, and plus it was one of the promises that a lot of them probably join me on,
Mhm.
because a lot of them are not being paid. They're
Well, you know what? You're going to be in part, I guess, paid in education.
they're going to be paid in education, and the way the contract is set up is that they get a certain percentage of
Oh, back end.
the sales.
Mhm.
So it's royalty based is what I'm calling it.
All
And
right.
some of them have volunteered to do additional roles on other series. So right now we have 5 series right now.
My goodness, that's
We
a lot of
have
series.
Yeah, we have 3 complete teams,
Oh
and
my, wow.
I'm working on getting the other 2 teams filled. So that's
Oh
kind of
my
like where we're
goodness.
at
All right. So
as
this
far.
is a huge undertaking, really, like, because we've got, let me hear that again. Am I 5, 6
5.
books? 5 books. We're looking at all of them being in a light novel version. Are they long books? Are they short stories? Like,
They're going to
you know,
be long books. Each
Mhm.
volume is going to be like a self-contained story,
All right.
and some of them do have comic book
Mhm.
forms too. Like the one that you guys helped me with, Favorite of Athena, that's
Mhm,
also
mhm.
going to be a light novel. We're going to have like the 2 formats going. So
Okay. All right. So all 5 books are different series,
yes,
completely different, right?
same
And
universe.
same universe. Okay, so we're making a world.
We're making a multiverse. Well, not a multiverse. We're making a universe.
Well, what we're doing is we're making what would, be in a Marvel or a DC or
Right.
Image or something like that, early, Image,
Yes.
where, or you might say Wildstorm, because that was the one that sort of stayed most consistent.
Yeah.
So, hold on, I've got a cat. Adam, would you grab me some cat treats really fast, just because I have to manage all of this here? Thank you. So let's see here. Okay, so what we're trying to do is we're trying to right off the bat create an entire, sort of comic book / light novel universe. Multiple series, multiple stories, all taking place in the same universe. And we're trying to get people connected and falling in love with this larger universe. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So the question, I think, is like, I, as a salesperson and all that kind of stuff, will have like definite like questions about, how we're going to bring this to different audiences and stuff like that, and keep people going on, more than one book. And that's possibly like later conversations. But I've also got a few other artists with me as well, who we're trying to get, I'm guessing, trained up or ready for the illustrations that are going to be in the book. So, or in the books, right? So that's what we're
Correct.
dealing with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of our artists are inexperienced. Like Caitlin just graduated from college
Mhm.
in art and design, I believe. She can tell you more about that when I let her speak. But a lot of people we're all inexperienced, and like I said, I felt like
Yeah, no,
art
let's
wise, you guys are the people I would like to help
absolutely,
train us
absolutely.
as we go
Okay.
through this undertaking.
Yes. All right, so this is indeed it's a complicated set of things. And I guess the question is, where do we want to start? I'm going to pause you just really fast. I have got to get the cat treats myself because I
Okay.
can't reach them. So 1 second, because otherwise we are going to hear kitten cries the entire time I'm on the phone, right? Yeah, 1 minute.
Life of a cat mom.
All right, Winnie, come here. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Okay, thank you for waiting just a second. Okay, well, let's start with questions from you guys, and then I'm gonna sort of go through, like, I know kind of generally what we're doing now, what our big undertaking is. And now let's field questions from everybody to sort of see where they're at, see if there's any like holes or concerns or thoughts or wanderings, like, because this is, we've got some people who are green here, which is totally great, totally fine. I've been teaching people, since I was 13 years old. I started with karate, and by the time I was I think I was 17, 18, I was teaching art. So, and I started teaching college age students and adults. I started teaching adults whilst I was in college myself. So I'd go from teaching or taking my college classes to doing adult stuff. So let me, am I still getting sound here or no?
Yeah, we can. I can
Okay,
hear you.
all right, just making sure, just making sure. Okay, and I've also got Caitlin talking here. Hello, Caitlin.
Hi. I do have one quick question.
Yeah.
When you guys are making comic book pages and stuff,
Mhm.
what's your process for that? Like,
Oh boy.
is it Marvel or like
Yeah.
more traditional or?
Oh, okay. So this means that you have, I'm guessing, probably have read like, what was it, Marvel's Guide to Creating Comics or whatever it was. I can't quite remember the title of it.
Yeah,
It was,
I didn't personally read it, but a lot of my professors talked about it.
yeah.
Caitlin, are you talking about this?
I'm talking about, yeah, how to draw
Yeah.
comics. Okay. So
Yeah.
here's what I would say with that. Okay. So I personally usually don't prescribe to, how to draw like the Marvel style of comic book making and stuff like that. I do think what it does is it makes for first of all, kind of muddy waters when it comes to, who owns storylines, who owns characters and all that kind of stuff. Like if you ever did any more reading with what happened with Jack Kirby and Stan
Right.
Lee and Steve Ditko,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. It just gets messy. Also, on top of that, like that style of writing, whilst it sort of kind of worked because like Stan and his people very like, first of all, I'll say about Stan Lee, God love the man. And I do in a lot of ways. I watched him talk at an award ceremony that I was at because we were up for something like he was up, he must have been like 82 or something like that, maybe in his late 70s. And my God, the man was sharp. And you know what Stan was always best at? Is he's an incredible salesman. Like, yes, very creative storyteller, but the sales that he could do, the way he could get people like on board to read Marvel Comics, how he engaged with the audience is what made Marvel what it was. But when it comes to storytelling, like oftentimes he'd have a very loosey-goosey outline of what it was that they were going to do. And then, you know, the other artists would fill in most of those blanks, like doing their own sort of, not just art layouts, but kind of like writing down their notes for what, you know, would essentially be much more of a script than what Stan would do. And, you know, really participating in those stories just as much as writers as Stan was 100%. But then again, they did not get credited in that very legally messy. On the another part of that too, for my feelings of the Marvel style, is that like if you're going in with a tight script, you know what you're doing as an
Right.
artist. And you know, you guys might all come together to agree on what that script is before. I don't know what our process is going to be. But the thing is, if you're not coming in with a tight script, you can't do good tight layouts without being like, oh, well, what if we change this? What if we did that? Blah, 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 blah. You know what? Writing takes that much time. Art takes that much time. My arms are off the screen here because that's how much time the art takes versus the writing. Writing, art.
Right.
Having done it myself, both. So therefore, when you're going into whatever art you're going into, you know, our script and stuff needs to be locked down. You know, I know I'm always giving long answers for everything. But
Yeah, me too.
that would have been a good thing for, say, like Marvel to have done, to have better, tighter scripts, and they wouldn't have spent all that goddamn money when they were doing reshoots on stuff. They spent millions on reshoots all the time because they didn't have a good script. So have a good script. Everybody should agree. Everybody should know what they're doing ahead of time, because you do not want to have to be going back and having to rework the art. Now, on top of that, when you're doing the art, like, you know, you're going from thumbnails that everybody can agree on, to roughs that everybody can agree on, to final lines that everybody can agree on, to the final color that everybody can agree on. And if you're doing it in those like piece by piece by piece by piece by piece like ways, you're not going to wind up with, oh no, I've got a finished color page and I have to go back to scratch, right?
Right.
Everything has to be a lock before the next thing is done.
Exactly.
Yep. And so I'm guessing, is this Caitlin's art here? Very nice.
Yes.
All right. So Caitlin, you just graduated, and what you want to be an illustrator, right?
Yeah, I just got my master's from Academy of Art in illustration.
Oh my goodness. My gosh. All right. So so you've got your master's. Do you also want to teach and stuff too, or like
Yeah,
just
I would like to teach at some point.
okay. All right. Awesome.
Let me
So fantastic. Oh, all right. And now are we seeing another?
Oh,
Art
I'm just
here?
pulling up her art
All
for
right.
the novel she's working on for us.
Great. Wonderful. Okay.
So, and then we also have Ryan.
Okay. Hello, Ryan. And is Ryan here as well?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Ryan. And now I see Caitlin. Fantastic. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, nice stuff here. Did you have like, you know, senior thesis projects and stuff like Caitlin? Like, what do you want? Is comics like the main thing that you want to do, or is this like a leeway or like a stop point onto something else?
No, comics is what I want to do.
This is the dream. Okay.
Yeah, this
all
is the
right.
dream.
All right. This is how I know how to kick your ass in just the right way. All right. So Ryan then, and I've got Ryan here. And then I've got his artwork, his painted artwork. Fantastic. So Ryan, are you also still in college or outside of college? Sorry, Caitlin is outside. You are
I just finished my Associates of Fine Art.
associates. All right, great. I'm guessing digital and physical art here.
Yeah, fine art and digital.
Nice, very nice. Excellent. All right. So we're coming from a couple of different places, like education levels and stuff like that. And you know what? It doesn't even matter because art is, you know, sort of what you put into the art in a lot of ways too. Like you know, one of the things I always say with art is that you had your education in school, and that is awesome. But your real education happens in the years just post school, like when you can get out of that and you can do what it is that you know that you need to do and go for the jobs that you need to have, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what's going to put you through the ringer in the right way. Okay.
I don't think Erica's on too.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let me.
And Erica, you've got artwork somewhere, but maybe not here.
Yes, hello, I'm sorry.
Pish posh, don't worry.
I don't have like any artwork up. That is not mine.
Oh,
It's really cool though.
You were not listening to the conversation that we had, but that's not mine.
yeah, I was preparing for the meeting.
No worries, no worries.
But I went to school for graphic design, but it's not really my thing. I was thinking about illustration more. So I'm just trying to like still figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with myself.
That is what a lot of people feel like, even, you know, me right now. We're doing a whole lot of other jobs for a whole lot of other people, just because, you know, I am myself getting older. So right now you see me as a elder millennial here. And you know, going into this business or any business, like one of the things that is always going to be difficult is that because technology and society change and move so fast, like you used to be able to be like, all right, I'm going to get into this job. I'm probably going to work here my whole life. I'm going to get a pension. I'm going to do this, or even like when I was coming into comics, like comics had been generally relatively the same for, you know, 50 years. And then when I got into comics in the early aughts, comics started changing really, really fast. And at this point, comics and how they distribute and where they distribute and the formatting and all that kind of stuff, it probably changes every 3 to 5 years. And so that's very intense. So right now, one of the things we're trying to do is make ourselves a sun with its own gravitational pull, because it is getting harder to do long form storytelling if, you know, the platform that you're on, you know, dies every few years, right? Or loses so many people that it becomes no longer viable. You know, that was the difficulty with, you know, going comic shops dying, Tumblr dying, then Webtoon. God love Webtoon, but Webtoon is definitely in a certain level of death throes itself. So, you know, that is a difficulty. It doesn't mean that things will not balance out again. They will, but just finding that next thing is always going to be somewhat of a struggle. But this is being your passion, you know, whether it's comics or something else.
Right.
You know, this is the world in which we live, and we find a way to function and utilize that world. All right, and so this is
This is me.
art.
But
This is you. Okay.
Yeah. But we also have with us Atara. So Atara is one of my writers.
Okay.
but she's in school for animation. So we've been talking about possibly having her do, because our largest platform right now is YouTube.
Mhm.
And so me and her, we've been talking about how we can use her knowledge. So she wanted to be on the call because
Yeah.
she's going to be our animator. So
Great.
go ahead, Atara.
I was gonna say if you wanted me to show you some of my artwork, I can.
Yeah, I'd love to. And are you going for like, are you wanting to do storyboarding? Are you wanting to do like, the actual animation process and stuff? Like, what do you think you want to
I'm
play
ambitious.
within?
I want to do it all. I want to write and do the drawing.
Okay, you want to do the whole shebang.
I want to do everything.
Yeah,
Don't we
Atara
all,
actually
right?
has been with me for a year. So
Wonderful.
Atara, you can send it to me in the chat and I'll load it up.
Okay.
But what you're seeing right now is my work.
Yes.
Now, just like I was explaining to them before you came on,
Mhm.
my goal as the Stan Lee is
Right, the
eventually I want
project
everybody to
lead.
be able to do their own stuff so I can focus on the business stuff. But I
Mhm.
have come to the realization that I might have to pick up one of the series.
Okay, so meaning you'll do art. Now, are you, Tario, are you writing all of these? Or
I write the comics and I write the outlines
okay, so
for
you're
the
doing
story.
the outlines for the stories, and then they finish the outlines
And then my
with the
writers
writing.
write the stories.
Okay, all right. So
For the light
yes, you
novel.
are okay. So you are kind of like the Stan Lee, where you create like a universe. You have general concepts and ideas. You hand them off to your writers. Your writers finish the stories, and everything gets solidified. And then the artist gets to take the story and they illustrate small pieces of it.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. And we're doing 5. And we have 3 artists on the call plus you. Right?
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. Fantastic.
So I am
This is grand design here. Okay. So excellent. We've got our artwork from everybody, and then Taro, you do some stuff digitally, or do you draw physically to start and then
I'm trying to train myself to draw digitally on my iPad now, but I'm traditional. So I draw, scan it, ink it, and digitally color it.
Yeah, getting your hand used to doing that drawing. I can do like one of the things that, I might do at some point, like, whether it's tonight or another time, like we can go through like tricks for Clip Studio, like how to make it so that, the tablet does the right pen pressure and stuff for your hand. So there's the maximum amount of, or what maybe is needed for stabilization for, any given person. Like there are some particular ways to do that, those settings and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ways that we can go through bit by bit, piece by piece, and make sure everybody has the tools that they need, right?
That's
to be able to do this properly.
That's actually my next undertaking. Trying to get everybody their own iPads and stuff. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Well, here is so I've got everybody on the call here. For my artists, has anybody ever used or has a desktop computer?
I do.
Yes.
I have
good.
several.
Oh, real quick. On the screen is Atara's artwork.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantastic. Very nice, Atara. Some good animals. People's fantastic. And physical drawing, it looks like for you as well.
I was trying to show some of my that I just did last month where it's on the computer, but I have to get that from the other computer.
Gotcha. No problem. Okay. So here's what I would say for everybody who has a desk. I would say most desktops, what's nice is they're generally pretty powerful, especially in comparison to years ago. Again, I'm an old lady now, an early millennial. And, I remember using, I think the first Photoshop I worked on was Photoshop 5. And that's a long time ago in the late 90s. And it really took a lot, right? I think even Photoshop 5 was the first one that had layers in it. And I was young at the time, but yeah, it was very difficult and complicated, and the computers would absolutely have a hard time running it. But now, lucky you guys. Computers are pretty powerful machines. They really are. And your average desktop with a decent screen and stuff like that, like even my desktop, even Adam just had to buy another desktop. That desktop is an unbelievably powerful computer, and I think it was $800. Now, if you've already got a desktop, I almost guarantee you it runs Clip Studio, which is all you really need for your drawing. So that's great right there. Next thing, a Huion tablet. You can get a, what is it? Is it a 13-inch or something like that, maybe? That's going to be pretty cheap in comparison to having an iPad. And you know what? Your control and the way it looks and all that kind of stuff is just going to be better than the iPad. God love the iPad. I have an iPad, but frankly, it's a little shit in comparison to what you can do with a tablet that can connect to the computer. So if you want to save yourself money and you want to get better quality, you're going to learn to work off of a desktop computer, which I know sucks balls to some degree because we want to be able to go anywhere with our iPad, but if you're at your desktop too, you're probably making sure that you're more focused on your work, which is something I also want you to be focused on. You guys are all a little bit more green artists, which is totally fine and totally okay. Now, I'm always going to have my teacher voice on here, and I know that's going to be a little shitty to hear sometimes. But I'm just giving my best recommendations that I can for what I've seen work for other people, because not only do I work for myself, I've worked on teams, I have managed teams. And so it can be really easy for a lot of artists to be like, I'm working, I'm distracted. And I don't want you guys to be distracted. I want you to save money, and I want you to have something that lasts. The computer that I'm on right now, the desktop that I have, is 12 years old, and it'll probably last another at least 5 years. I wouldn't be shocked. So if you get a good computer, you take care of that computer, meaning turn it off at the end of every day, that thing's gonna last. So that's just my recommendation right there. I think an iPad is lovely, but you have to also pay a fee for Clip Studio on an iPad, which is also shitty. And I think is highway robbery when you can just buy it, or I believe you can still just buy it. I find it just doesn't work as well. There's a lot of things that don't work so well with it, like Clip Studio, or not Clip Studio, but iPads really want you to use, what is the program that everybody uses on an iPad? It's their freeware one. I'm forgetting the name.
It's
you know what?
Photoshop, Clip Studio, and then
I can't remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know what
I can't remember, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Procreate. Thank you, Procreate.
Yeah.
Procreate, I think is a good program and stuff like that. And it works for the iPad. It just doesn't work anywhere else. Bummer. And that's what makes it tough. But still, I think generally fine. As long as everybody's files transfer, that's fine. I just think Clip Studio does a better job with a lot of these things because it's very structured for this job. That's just my 2 cents on that. So anyways, yes, everybody needs a tablet to work on. You can't do this job really anymore without that. I used to hand draw all my pages and scan them in myself, but I can't, like, it's just a lot of extra time. I don't want to do that.
Right.
And I want to have my drawings. I don't want to have to, another problem with the iPad, it's hard to get clean lines. It just is.
It sure is. Like, I get so
Yeah.
frustrated that I end up going back to paper.
No, yeah, it's not
So-
good. Like, it's fine for, I think, layouts. And sometimes if I'm really like, if I don't have anything else and I'm waiting at the airport or whatever, and I bought my iPad, like a used iPad a few years ago for $1,000, fine. And it is fine, but it's never going to give me the lines and the speed that I have on my tablet. My tablet, I can work probably 8 times faster, and the time I save is better than gold because, again, this job takes forever. So yeah, use a desktop, get a good tablet.
Can I say that I went back to school to learn how to use a tablet? It is the hardest part is like my eye
Mhm.
to hand coordination because it's different to not look at my hand.
Okay, so you're on a Wacom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I would want you to be on is I would want you to be on a tablet you can look at. I don't want you to be on a Wacom. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not for drawing, no.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like I can't look at my hand. I have to look at the computer.
No. That's
And
okay
it's
for
so-
color, but no, I never would do that, period.
I used to have a Cintiq.
Cintiq, yeah,
Yeah.
good machines.
Yeah. I have a XP pen.
XP pen, all right.
Yeah.
That is, can you draw on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. It's got a screen that I can.
okay. And as long as you like the quality and the control and stuff like that, that's good, Caitlin, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay, so anyways, the tools we have, does everyone have Clip Studio? Yes or no?
I do.
You do.
I do not. I have never really used it before.
Okay. Well, guys, and here's the difficult thing too for a lot of art schools. Like, this is in part why I don't teach art, is so a lot of art schools, God love them, they sold their soul to Adobe and to Mac and stuff a long time ago because they were like, hey, we'll give you money as a school if you make the students use our products. And so trying to teach the students anything other than the Adobe products or on anything other than a Mac, if that's what your school has done, becomes very hard because you
Mhm.
signed as a school contracts probably back in the aughts. So many schools do not teach Clip Studio and don't let you have whatever computer you want to have because, again, you know, for us, whatever that feed was back then, they then force their students to learn things that, you know, aren't necessarily as good. For instance, like Clip Studio, or not Clip Studio, but Photoshop is crappy to draw on too.
Okay.
Yeah. God love Photoshop, and I use Photoshop still for some color things, not all of them. I still use it, and I'll definitely use it for like photo editing and stuff like that because I'll have to do a myriad of other things. But if I didn't need Illustrator and I didn't use Premiere from time to time and I wouldn't pay for Adobe stuff. I just wouldn't. So Clip Studio is just a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper and it's just better at what it does. So let me even look up. I'm gonna see if I can escape this here really fast. I'm just gonna look up how much does Clip Studio cost right now.
It's funny that you said that because I had downloaded Clip Studio Pro for my iPad last year, and it used to make me frustrated because I was like, it looks like Photoshop. I should be able to adapt what I know how to do in Photoshop here, but I got really frustrated and I ended up going back to Photoshop for my drawing.
So let's see here. All you need is the Pro 3.0 edition, and I'm pretty sure perpetual license still means that you just have it in perpetuity. That means you just have it, and it's $54 to get Clip Studio. I'm gonna tell you guys that's worth it right there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Can I chat? Here's my chat. There it is. Boom. Clip Studio. That's your link.
Okay.
I would say for everybody, it's just worth it. It's just worth purchasing it. Just purchase it. Just have it. You don't need the fancy stuff. Like the fancy stuff can do some things with illustration and whatever, but we don't need that. All we need is the drawing and coloring tools for what our purposes are here. That's all we need. You know, and I'm going to be honest too, like they do have like maquettes, I'm sure, in the fancier version, like that you can use and trace over. But I will say that I would encourage you against that because it makes you into a more stiff artist and it never forces you to actually be able to draw proportions from memory. So, you know, it becomes I've known a lot of artists and stuff like that, especially with Webtoon, and it became a crutch and they never learned.
Gotcha. All right. I do have some like Erica's art.
All right, great, great.
Over. So I'm sharing my desktop.
I see it. Very nice. Some good painting here. Lovely. All right, so traditional, and I'm guessing some digital and stuff like that.
I mostly like working with charcoal. I'm trying to do the digital. I'm not the best at it, so I just have to improve.
Totally fine, and that's just stuff we can learn on the group call, right? So we can do our little classes and stuff like that. All right. So anyways, I think tools we've gone over, right? What we probably want a desktop. We probably want to have a you know, a tablet that plugs in. Again, a Huion is pretty cheap and inexpensive. Also, like I use a Cintiq 13 HD. Adam uses the Huion. But like even the Cintiq 13 HD, whatever it's called now, because again, this is 10 years old and it's still trucking along. It's still great. Is pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive. So everybody should have a tablet that they can draw right on instead of, because you don't want to do this looking at the screen and then drawing. That's bad. No, we want to be drawing right on the screen. So if we're doing digital drawing, that's where we want to be. And then we want to use Clip Studio Pro. And those are my big tool things thus far.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So other thoughts and questions and stuff like that. Like I can go through the process of our thumbnail to final art. And that's a thing that I can do with Comic Pages. That might be a different thing to do at another time. We can even talk about the writing process and stuff like that as well, and how we get the scripts up to snuff for, you know, actually figuring out what our illustrations and stuff are going to be. You know, there's a lot of ways we could take this. So right now is another break. What do we want to talk about next?
So we also I have two of my writers who they volunteer for everything. So we have the Amber and we have Samantha. They're also on the call.
Hello, Amber and Samantha.
Hello.
Hi.
So you guys can ask her any questions you may have.
Yeah.
Because again, see, like I told everybody, that you guys are visual storytellers, and that's what we all are.
Yes.
So,
And I've been doing this a long time, guys. I've been behind the table at conventions
how long
for
have you been doing it?
21 years.
I told him it was like 2 decades, if I remember.
Yes. Yep. I was young when I started. But I've been doing this a long time. And like I said, I even, you know, like I've been teaching since I was 13. Like I said earlier, I started teaching karate at 13. But then by like 17, 18, I was already teaching art. When I was in college, I taught kids classes and adult classes. So I get done with my college classes. And then I go teach an adult class, like teaching computers, or I would teach some drawing classes or whatever. And sometimes I'd wind up teaching the teachers at the school that I was at. So
it's funny how that happens. So the
it's
Amber,
a wild thing. Yeah.
So the Amber is one of my light novel writers, but she's also probably going to transition at some point as we grow into heading my video game department, because she has done video game articles before, and I already taught her how to use the Twine systems so that we can write our own games. So that's probably going to be her future role with the company. Is she's probably going to be like our video game director. So the Amber, you have any questions?
So many things to manage. My goodness. That's a full-time job right there.
But so go ahead, Amber, if you have any questions.
I didn't really have any particular questions. I was just having a good time kind of like listening to the conversation.
So no questions right now, Amber, right?
Not just yet, but I'll let you know if I have one.
Okay.
No worries, Amber, at all. And too, I can always ask plenty of questions. That's partly my job, is to ask questions that you have to be like, about.
All right. And then we have Samantha. So Samantha is she's doing editing and she is doing writing. And she's also going to do some voice acting for us as well.
Gracious. Oh, hello, Samantha.
Hello. This is actually the second time we've met, but the first time was at a convention. I don't know if it was ASIN or Dice Show, but I might have bought like all of your books at one point.
Oh my goodness.
Like right at that table.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like I recognize your voice.
oh, really?
Yeah. A certain timbre, like, yeah, the other thing is I tend to remember a lot of things from years ago. So, you know, somebody will be like, I got this commission from you, you know, or like I'll see them and I'm like, oh, you got a commission from us like years ago. And I think it was of this thing. They'll be like, yeah, that was 12 years ago. And I'll be like, I know. So yeah, just having, I will say just another quick aside. Whether or not you guys like it, stepping into this world of making, you know, stories and stuff like that, right? The umbrella of media, whether that's video games, comics, art, you know, movies, whatever. Whether you like it or not, you're a salesperson. And a salesperson needs to remember everybody needs to be personable, needs to be fun. And that is not a thing that is easy, but it is a skill that is learned over time, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we all, that's why we go to conventions. That's why we, meet people, we shake hands, we talk, we get comfortable being with others and pitching to others. Like I've been pitching to the Democrats here in Michigan, like a lot of things that we can do for them and trying to figure out what is it that we're going to do art-wise for them. Like, and that's a whole big enchilada of work and balancing and talking, because there's a lot of counties here, a lot of different people's interests that have to be weighed and balanced and spoken to in order to get the right thing. And, I especially have to be the point person to be calling and talking to everybody all the time to keep them moving on the project. And that's tough, but it's worth it because I know I'm going to make something great.
Samantha, you have any questions?
Um,
I know it's a big question to ask if you have any questions, right? Because it's huge.
Well, the writers weren't, because I forgot that we could do writers too. I was really focused on the artist improvement.
So you do everybody.
Go ahead, Samantha.
Yeah,
you're fine. Well, I don't really have a lot of faith in my drawing abilities, but I was wondering, how do you feel about just tracing things to kind of like build up the muscles?
I think you can trace things to build up muscles. So you can trace things to build up muscles. Now, what goes along with that, though, is figuring out how to structure things and practicing too, like how do we move our hands and stuff like that. Like there are little things that most people are, I'm going to be honest, never taught with drawing. Like, there, for instance, many teachers in collegiate classes, not all, but many, are maybe a little bit older or two, never worked in the field, right? They have not ever gone out and actually done illustration work. And so what that means is they're just sort of classically trained. And so even when they're doing digital stuff, if they're trying to muddle through teaching digital stuff, they haven't really done a bunch of it themselves. So a lot of them, I've seen them be like, oh, just like doing fine art, you're just going to draw with your whole arm, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that is absolutely not what you do, because it's a very different canvas. And so being able to learn how to move our hands to get straight lines, how to flick, how to use the tools to like help you get a perfect curved line and stuff like that. That's all a whole other ball of wax. And many people just don't have the skills to teach it. And so we become, lost, feeling like there's no way to learn these things because nobody can actually teach you. So I think, yes, go ahead and trace for a minute, but if you want to trace simultaneously, whether you're watching YouTube videos from other skilled people or whatever, you're going to be practicing the structure of actually building a drawing, right? So they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I was going to say coloring books, like your favorite anime or something. If you can get a coloring book, like after she can trace it and then I color in it, and that helps you understand what's going on better. So coloring books help a lot.
All right.
Well, I'd heard of a process that involves tracing. You trace over an image of like a pose or something that you want to draw, and then you try to redraw that pose after tracing it, and it helps kind of cement some of that.
Right, the muscle
learning.
memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of it is muscle memory to some degree. Like intellectually, I know how to draw, but you know what? My right hand can, my left hand can't. I hurt my right hand for a little bit. And I was like, well, like maybe I can give my left hand some of that drawing. And it doesn't happen. That muscle memory is here, not here. All right. So let's, as we're reaching the end, this is a
Right.
good introduction to everybody. Let's start getting a game plan here. So what I would say is there are a lot of things to think about and understand when it comes to writing and stuff like that. And what you guys are doing is complicated. And I think there's, I would love to go through with you guys to say, all right, what is our structure for how we're getting things done? You know, I would want to go through and sort of ask questions and then give some ideas, you know, on what could be done. Because it could be like, man, that's perfect. Like seamless, spectacular, keep on going. But there might be some things that I'm like, you know what, you're going to save yourself time or headaches, right? Down the line, if we do this, that, and the other thing. So I'd want to, if I can, I want to start with that because writing's where we start.
Mm-hmm.
And just do one session. And maybe that's all we need to do is one session on that. We can always talk about stories and go back and forth, but you know, structure. Let's just get the structures right. Then the other thing is for art, like I think it would be good to go through, have everybody get Clip Studio and do some sessions to be like, okay, let's make sure we understand how this program works. Let's make sure that all of our settings are the kind of settings that we need to have to make our hand sing. And you know, too, at that point in time, you guys can ask questions like, how do I do this pose? How do I, you know, digitally color? How do I, you know, send these particular files? How do I this? How do I that? And that is open for the writing process as well. Like sometimes, like it's hard when you're like, are there any questions? Like, what do I ask? You don't know what to ask until you're sort of seeing some things laid out in front of you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I bet I should probably ask about that, right? Like that's how that tends to work. It's not like, I just know. You don't. And that's why too, like you'll be in a lot of classrooms and stuff like that. And the teacher will just say some stuff and they'll be like, are there any questions? And you know,
everybody's
honest,
just like,
no. And that's in part because the teacher is not always the best at laying out what is actually before you and making it feel like you can engage with the material. And so that's what I want to do is make sure that we have enough information to engage with the material and that you guys feel comfortable and invited to do so.
all right. That sounds good to me. We actually do have my goal this year, because I tried doing this last year and I told my team from last year who are still with me that I blame myself. I let things kind of like get out of control. I gave you guys outlines, just expecting you guys to know exactly what to write and stuff like that. So going into this year, I came up with a better system. So now instead of trying to write essentially a chapter every 3 days, we're now writing a chapter a week. But in addition to that, before we even start writing, after I finish the outlines, we've been spending every Sunday night kind of going over the different beats as a team together. So yeah, I think that's a perfect way for us to start next session with the writing.
With the writing, yeah, I think so too. And then we can just make sure everything's working because again, if the writing isn't there and we're still a little squishy on whether we like it or we don't, we can't in good faith and hand it off to our artists and say, hey, draw this thing that then might change, right? That's
Right.
not fair. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that the writing is 100%. And then over here. Like even for, you know, the comics, I usually would try and get like, let's get 4 or 5 issues written down the line. So I'm not writing and then drawing and then writing and then drawing. Like I need to be ahead of schedule for my writing because again, the writing takes that long and the art takes that long, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
That sounds good to me too. So, and everybody too, since everybody kind of wants to do both, I would say everybody, if you want to be on the call, we can be on the call. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be one or the other. Everybody can always learn as much as they want to from every single one of these. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any last minute questions,
Or
comments?
thoughts or anything?
Caitlin, you look like you want to say something.
I'm sorry. I'm like falling asleep here. I've had a long day, so.
Totally
right.
understandable.
Understandable. All right. Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to
Oh, no,
meet with
thank you
us.
very much. I'm excited to help you guys, and Adam will probably be in and out here too as I manage things. So yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely excited about having you on because again,
Mhm.
I tell them, well, I haven't told them recently, I guess, but I told them I really enjoy having everybody on my team this year. I really feel like everybody has bought into the mission. Everybody's really working hard. Everybody's meeting their
Mhm.
assignment goals every week. It's
Excellent.
a really awesome team, and I really feel like if we were to get the professional mentorship, that we can really take this company and
Yeah.
really make some moves.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it's all tough, right? And I'll say that up front. And I think, you know, anybody worth their salt would always say that it is tough. But this job is something that, given the time and the dedication, you can learn it. You can do it. But that unending need, that grit, is something that's got to be there. And that grit too itself, it's not magic, just like talent is not magic, it's earned. Skill is earned. You take out of it what you put in. That's how that goes. All right. Well,
Exactly.
great, guys.
All right.
Lovely talking to you all. And then I'm going to guess we're going to talk next month. And when we talk next month, we're going to talk about writing.
Yes,
And we're going to
I
talk about
have it written
concepting
down.
and structure and stuff like that. And so you guys just let me know what night we want to do, and we'll see what we can set up.
How about we just go ahead? I was thinking we could just do the first Sunday of the month. Just keep it consistent.
Let me check. I may be, it all depends on if I'm at Dragon Con in Atlanta. So
Okay. I mean, we can, you and I can discuss that during the week.
yeah, I'm just going to even look at it. What is the dates for the show here? Come on. It's over Labor Day weekend. So the first Sunday is the 1st. I shan't be here,
Okay.
but we could do the one, I believe, after that.
The 8th.
Yeah, yeah, probably, I think the 8th.
Okay.
Yes, because I think the next thing that I have to do is like the 12th or something, or the 13th. So I think the 8th I have free. So for right now, we're going to say probably the 8th, if that can work for people.
Okay.
All right.
Works for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys. So good chatting with you all. And I hope everybody has a lovely rest of their evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 All right, guys. What do you think?
My inner fangirl is screaming right now.
That was fun.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I am too. I really feel like I know what I know, but I know that they're where I would like to get to, just as an independent creator. But I feel like we can take a lot of the stuff that she's going to teach us and we can grow the company as well as grow ourselves as, independent. Because I know everybody's end goal isn't going to be, oh, I want to work for Be Terrific Media, right? So I really think we can take that and it can benefit us as a company and then us as individuals. That's, like I said, that's why I reached out to them to mentor us. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed. So you guys heard we're gonna try to make it the 8th. So that's the second Sunday of September. It'll be 9 p.m. again. And then I guess what we'll work on between now and then is really making sure that our writing process is working. This is going to be the first real official week. And as well as the inks for the drawings. And then for those of us who are going to be undertaking drawing, we'll work on making sure that we have the tools that she mentioned. So I'll be checking on that during the week. So, well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Any questions?
Is it okay that I'm on chapter 3 instead of 1?
Yes, that's totally fine. I'm telling you now, I'm actually going to try to write a whole novel this month.
Okay. I'm trying to get to at least chapter 6, but
so that's one of the other things that I'm working on. I want to get back into trying to produce. That's how I do my novels, everybody. I try to knock a novel out in a month. So yeah, that's totally fine. If you want to go a week ahead, obviously that just helps us out because now we can just revise, when that actual chapter was due. So yeah, I'm fine with that.
okay. I couldn't find clip art on Apple. Is it on Windows?
Clip Studio?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on Windows. I would imagine that it would be. Yeah, it's called Clip Studio Pro. So yeah, I guess I'll re-download it. When she was saying it, I was like, "Dog."
Yeah, it's available for Windows.
It is? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody say hi to Erica.
Hello.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, how are you guys?
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna. I don't know if it's gonna make you guys laugh. You guys might get mad at me. So I was telling my mom the other day because like I said, I'm always trying to really make sure that the business structure is straight and that our creative structure is straight. And I was going through the creative team, and I was telling my mom, I was like, I might as well do because she knows about all the other series that I have planned out. I was like, I might as well just go ahead and do Destiny's Hero. And she's like, why? I was like, because my whole staff is all women. I have 2 males as creators. And I was like, I told her, I was like, when I had brought it up, it was like 4 of them that wanted to do it. And then I was like, we'll focus on the ones that I want. But I was really thinking about it the other day because it really is a series that I really kind of like in my head. And I was really thinking about like, my whole team is nothing but women. They will probably knock that out the park. So I say that to say that we might try to put that on the table, but that will be a whole team kind of project.
Like one person writes chapter 1, another person writes chapter 2, that kind of thing?
Yes, that kind of thing. One person draws like the first page, somebody else draws the second page.
The ultimate collab.
Huh?
It's the ultimate collab.
It's the ultimate collab. So I was thinking that because I just feel like since most of you really didn't want to do that project, I'm like, oh well, let's do that one for fun, and maybe that can be like our calling, one of our many calling cards. So like, obviously the Black Nerd audience is our first audience, but maybe our second audience is the women's audience. You know what I mean? And maybe we can be forefront in that particular realm as well. So just keep that in your in your hats. I'll let you guys know if I'm gonna pull that trigger or not. Okay.
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 Sounds fun.
Yeah, see, look at y'all. Y'all all ready. All right.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. Go ahead, Atara.
Oh no, I was like, I'm just gonna have to do the clip art on my iPad because I don't see it on any of my laptops.
Yeah, that's I'm probably going to have to just do it on my iPad as well. I'm gonna see. I think for I have a Cintiq, but my Cintiq takes up like my whole desk, and that's why I haven't used it. And plus, I think I lost my stylus for it, so I would have to replace that and one of the wires, I think. So yeah, it's gonna we have 30 days to try to get all the tools together. Obviously she knows that we're all, we're not rich, so I don't think she's going to expect for us to all have the tools by September. But if we can all make that concentrated effort, it would be nice. I'll see if I can find some kind of like deals for us as well, like on the company end. So we'll see. Did Ryan disappear? Ryan disappeared from the call. See what I mean?
You're surrounded, Terrio.
Yeah, well, I'm not one to complain about being surrounded by women. Yeah, so that's all I got. So I'll let you guys know if we pull that trigger and how that will ultimately look. And yeah. So if nobody else has any questions or
I
does any
have one
well, I guess I
question.
should ask this while we're all together. Is there anything like she said, I know if I ask this, you guys probably don't know right now, but if you feel so, I guess I'll put it this way. During the week, I want you guys to really think about what you think you need, A, from me, but B, to like any kind of struggles you feel like you have. Like for me, my whole thing is I'm a pretty good if you put it in front of me, I can probably draw it almost perfectly. You sit there and tell me to like do my own like composition, can't do it. And if I can do it, it doesn't look as good. So like my hand eye when I'm looking at somebody else's stuff I can do. I know that's a weakness of mine. So that's something I'm probably going to bring up to her. So I want you guys to kind of think during the week as a writer, as an artist, if you're doing both. Just think about areas that you would like to improve on. Make a list and then choose your top 3. Right. And then I'll make that into like a document of everybody. I won't share what your weakness is to somebody else. I'll make a general document of, hey, these are kind of like the skills that we feel like we want to work on. And then I can give that to her and then she can tailor, our training sessions better that way. So think about that during the week as well. And I am working on, there's 2 more. Right now I'm gonna say speakers. I don't know if I can get them to come in every month like I can get Comfort and Adam to do. But I am looking at bringing Jessica Brody on. That will be strictly for writers. Again, I think everybody can learn from her though, because she's a storyteller. So, but she's a novelist, and she is Save the Cat instructor as well for the novelist section of their company. And then I'm also going to try, I don't know if I can reach, there's two of them. I'm gonna try to reach Tracy Dion and Tomi Adeyemi. If you don't know who they are, they're the authors of Children of Blood and Bone and Legendborn. Legendborn is awesome. I'm reading Children of Blood and Bone right now. I think we can probably get Tracy in to be a guest speaker. Tomi,
I want to read those books.
uh,
Children of Blood and Bone. I want to read those books. Yes.
Legendborn is really good. It starts off really slow, but it ends really spectacular. Like I'm getting ready to read the second book, and Samantha's computer died. And she's got a new one that's getting ready to come out. So like I told you guys, the royalty contractors, I'm gonna try my best to try to keep us motivated and bring in people to really help grow us. So those are the two who I'm working on right now, and so I'll keep you guys in the loop if it happens. But
Right.
nobody else says anything. You guys have a good night. I will talk to you guys during the week. I gotta get on these research assistants of mine because they're holding me up. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys during the week, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. All right.
All right.
All
See you
right. Have a
then.
good night.
Night.